Hey y'all, it's Hunter Elliott, rangehot.com. Hope you're doing well. This evening I'm finalizing my review of a brand new silencer from OSS Suppressors. Their RAD 22 Rimfire can. It's fresh on the market. I had this can a couple months now, and myself and several of my friends have managed to get 500 or 600 rounds downrange of different types of ammunition, subsonic, supersonic, 22 long rifle, as well as a lot of 22 mag. My buddy Josh from Spotter Up stopped by. We spent the afternoon with the Kel-Tec CMR 30 22 mag. Specifications: the little can, it's made of 17.4 heat treated stainless steel and titanium. The weight is 6.2 ounces. The length is 5.5 inches. The diameter is just over an inch. MSRP is going to come in about $450, so you know it's going to be right much cheaper than that on the street. I've been doing reviews for OSS now for a pretty good while. They make some fantastic products, and the RAD 22 is no exception to that rule. So let's talk about it. Now, this is a Baffle stack type can, but it's not a traditional Baffle stack can. It's still using some flow through technology, but OSS is calling it the flow baffle. And so the baffle is actually, instead of just impeding the gases through each stage, it's diverting the gas away from the center of the bore to the exterior of the can, slowing it down that way. That eliminates a lot of your blowback and any kind of bolt overspeed that you would get from shooting a suppressed 22 with a standard baffle tack. It also, the can was going to run a lot cleaner and a little bit cooler than your standard rimfire can. Now, you know, rimfire, especially 22 long rifle, is filthy. So anything you can do to mitigate some of that nastiness is probably a pretty good idea. And so with this flow baffle technology that OSS has come up with, I think it's certainly very beneficial for the long run of not having to spend so much time cleaning your little silencer. Silencers are getting pretty popular, man. They are certainly showing up a whole lot more, which I am thankful to see. Other than just the plain fun factor of standing out here at 30 yards and banging away at targets with a can and being hearing safe, they make a fantastic training tool. You know, if you know somebody you want to introduce them into firearms, well, the very usually first step for someone to introduce to firearms is some sort of 22. And so you get a 22 with a threaded barrel and you put a little can on there. If they've got any kind of sensitivity to the report or that loud bang or crack or whatever, well, this eliminates a tremendous amount of that. And so it's going to be easier for someone to kind of ease into the shooting sports when you can suppress that report, even on a little rimfire. Speaking of suppression, we measured it using this Ruger Mark IV, and it was averaging about 73 decibels to the ear. Now, as y'all know, my decibel meter is a little bit different. It does not measure peak sound. It measures the sound to your ear. So when I say 73 decibels, average human conversation is going to run somewhere between 60 and 65 decibels, depending on if they're talking at you or yelling at you. Your blender, if you're in there making your pina coladas and your margaritas, that's running about 90 decibels. So as rimfire cans go that I've tested, this has been one of the more quieter ones. We also, on the host, I used the Ruger 1022 Takedown Light, and then the Ruger Mark IV 2245 Light was our primary host. Little can don't have any kind of moving parts, so I didn't expect for any kind of failures. It didn't show any kind of degradation in reliability or accuracy as expected. So other than suppressing the report and adding maybe a little bit of weight out on the muzzle for your handgun, you didn't even know it was there. So let's get this thing taken apart real quick and look at what it looks like on the inside. So OSS sends you this cool little wrench, the open face part. Takes off the end cap here, baffle stack. Now, I have not cleaned it in the past 500 or 600 rounds. And you know those rimfire cans can get pretty nasty. So fortunately you can take both ends off. So if you got to get that pesky last baffle out. Normally this is where I would recommend getting a wooden dowel rod or something like that, but I'm going to just push it out with an ink pen. There you go. Remind me, y'all, to clean this can at some point. So you can see here, this is what they're calling the flow baffle. It actually does have little areas here where it's directing the gas to the outside edge of the can, and these little spiral shapes are not only impeding and slowing down the gas, but it's keeping all that gas from blowback and all that back in your face, bolt overspeed like we talked about. You know, OSS is pretty good about making some nice stuff that really doesn't affect the reliability of the stuff running where you've got to monkey around with any of the internals. So you know that OSS is pretty good to go. I mean, for 500 or 600 rounds of rimfire, it is dirty, but it's not that bad. The baffles are, they're coming apart pretty easy. They're not all stuck together and grimy. I mean, there's not a whole lot to be said about a silencer. They are super cool. They're getting more affordable. I think a lot of people, when they venture into silencers, they start with the rimfire, which makes perfect sense to me as far as, you know, money-wise. They're not that expensive. They're versatile. Now, this being not just rated for 22 long rifle, but all rimfire. So if you got 22 mag or 17 HMR or whatever you got one can that you can thread on several different hosts if you want to go that route, and that saves you from having to buy a bunch of them damn tax stamps. So there you go. Now, there will be an article on rangehot.com that's going to have a lot more of the details and specifications and features. So if you missed something on the review or feel like I didn't go over something, just check the article on rangehot.com. Let me know what you think on that. Hopefully that'll clear anything up. Past that, if you got any questions, you know, reach out to the good folks at OSS. Talk to them. They're pretty knowledgeable. You can always reach out to me through Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Pinterest, the whole 9 yards. I'll be glad to try to help you any way I can on that. And so, yeah, I mean, there's really not a whole lot more to say other than I'm very satisfied with the way this thing was put together, the way that it's run, the way that it's suppressed. Didn't affect accuracy or anything like that, so I think we're pretty good to go. If you're in the market for a rimfire can, I would highly encourage you to check out the RAD 22 from OSS. If you're not in the market for a rimfire can, then I would highly encourage you to get off your ass and get in the market. They're pretty cool, they're a lot of fun, and they serve as a fantastic training tool. That's about all I got, y'all. I'm going to get this wrapped up, so I want you to take care of yourselves and each other. I look forward to seeing you at the range.